What's up, y'all? Welcome to another Creative Herd episode of the top-down camera angle
discount
for the gang.
like 10 minutes I was just talking to you while you were ignoring me?
Yeah, I am, for sure.
So we have to start the episode here.
Yes, starting episode
Wow.
now.
All right, fine.
Well, we were talking about the most random things, and I was on my phone, and it's just rude, and...
Okay, at least you're acknowledging that.
Yeah, I was being rude,
At
for
least
sure.
you're acknowledging.
Yeah, sorry, mister, I deleted Instagram. Some of us haven't and are still distracted by our phones.
Yeah. Whatever, you're using it for the greater good.
Yeah, how's that going anyways, though?
The greater good?
No, you not having Instagram, how is that going?
Oh, like completely fine. I think because like I didn't really post, I just consumed that like it was such an easy switch off. I do feel like the flip side of that, like if you actually posted and consumed, it would be a harder pill to swallow to get off of it, because I really just want to use platforms that I'm contributing to. So if I'm not contributing, bye bye.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
That does make sense.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you don't even have TikTok on your phone, though. You just have it on your desktop.
Yeah, because I have no interest in consuming that either. But I'll add to the algorithm of the shit that's going around.
I was gonna say, doesn't the algorithm reward you for using their platform?
Oh, probably. It probably does. But that's just not. We got to focus on making content, baby. Hustle. Show up every day.
Yikes. Oh, I just shaked in my own boots, bro. Please don't. I'm too low energy to be talking about hustle and grinding right now.
That's so funny.
That being said, though, we do have a TikTok if you want to find us through Creative Herd TikTok, where we leave all of our short form tips and tricks by your boy Spenny T. All your favorite editing tips are from this guy. I contribute in small little short form artsy videos, and that's where I come in. So it's mainly Spencer. But give us a follow. We'd love to connect with you. And there's Sora. She is jumping on the couch to join us for the episode.
Nice.
Yeah, man. So
I mean, technically we did hustle. I mean, you hustled more than I. I just kind of stood around sometimes and pointed a camera. But
you're talking about this past weekend?
This past weekend, yeah, was big hustle weekend.
Big hustle weekend. Yeah.
Actually, hustling gear. So much gear.
Oh, bro. Yeah, you stepped... Okay,
so
for a little bit
gear.
of context, if you haven't watched the past couple of episodes, we have been leading up to the big production days of my short film, Morning Coffee, directed by yours truly, alongside one of my best friends, Kyla, who wrote it and also starred in it alongside Virgo Martinez. And we've talked about it a lot. There's been a lot of conversations around imposter syndrome, a lot of conversations around excitement and preparation and finding inspo to tell a story that isn't yours, but you're adapting as your own. And now we are 5 days away from, or 5 days after we've officially wrapped. And I am exhausted. I am so tired emotionally, physically, mentally, spiritually. I feel like I put my entire being into this film and learned so much and found out so much about myself and others all at the same time. I could talk about it for days, but I feel like we should curate this conversation around what it's like making a short film.
Did you get some sleep afterwards? Do you feel like you're rested?
Today I feel rested. On the fifth day. And on the fifth day, he slept. Yeah, I feel rested now, but before the past few days, definitely not. Yeah, I mean, I could talk all about that, but I kind of want to just talk about first, like how the overall thing went, and also give you a massive shout out. So if you didn't know, there is going to be a little BTS little video documentary kind of thing.
You want to shout me out?
I'm shouting you out, dog.
Shout out your boy Spenny.
So Morning Coffee is the film that we are likely going to wrap in June, and hopefully it sees a little film festival circuit in the best case possible. Yeah. But regardless, we made it for ourselves. There's never going to be the goal of putting it in somewhere. We're just really proud of what we made. But
totally.
We're still going to submit it, which means that it can't go live and be published onto YouTube or any other platform
Mhm.
while it's in submission. But that being said, Spenny T graciously donated his time and his effort into making a BTS, or just being there and filming us and interviewing us and capturing the essence of the 3-day shoot, the pandemonium of it. We thought it was
That's such a good word.
we thought it was going to be like 14 plus 1 days, so 14 hours plus 1 for teardown. But thankfully, the longest day I think was 10 hours, not even, maybe 9. But they were a jam-packed. Those were jam-packed days, just shot after setup after location. It was very intense and very beautiful. But you showed up in the biggest way, because not only did you BTS, you end up being like a second grip. Like, is that what it's called? Second grip? Best boy? What's the term for that guy?
Yeah, I think it's just more grips. I think you can have a multiple.
Yeah, you can have multiple
Multiple
grips.
grips.
Yeah, you end up being a grip, which was, bro, that was such a lifesaver, because we were definitely shorthanded. But keep in mind, this is a passion project. Morning Coffee was a passion project that brought
That was shot in an Ariel Lexus Super 3.
Yo, we'll get to that too. But this was a passion project that started off as 3 people, and the more and more ears and eyes that came onto the script, more of our friends wanted to jump on, and the talent pool was incredible and insane, and it united people wanting to tell a very personal story of Kyla and end up adopting it as their very own story, and they put all of their heart into it. They didn't treat it like a passion project, they treated it like a very legitimate film, and I'm so eternally thankful for it. So everyone showed up and worked super, super hard, and it is going to show once this film gets out there. But yeah, we had 20 people and still we're very shorthanded, especially on like the grip side of things, and you stepped up immensely. And I really appreciate that, because we were strapped for time, and if you weren't there, man, we'd be still hauling fucking mambo combos and C-stands to this day. Outside of that.
Sometimes it's just like, just getting the things to the hands that know how to do the actual thing, you know? So it's just like, I might not know what everything's called or how to like set everything up, but it's just like, I can bring them a fucking C-stand so they don't have to take their time to go and grab one, you know? So that's kind of how I was looking at it. Oh
man. But that's the best way to learn, don't you think? Is just exposure and being part of it.
I think that's, I mean, at least for me and my knowledge and experience, I know that's the only way I learn. I can't really learn. You just trial by fire, man.
Says the guy who went to film school.
Yeah, exactly. But like trial by fire, you know? It's just like my film school was literally just like make films and you guys will figure it out.
Yeah, but that was sick though. I didn't have that exposure, you know? I didn't get to go to film school. I did media and cinema analysis, which is so bullshit. You should have just called it film studies. I watched a bunch of movies and wrote papers on them. So I had zero like hands-on experience outside of sets that I was just putting myself on. And that is something, there is no equivalent to just being on set and learning and asking questions without any ego and just being very humble about the experience. You know, I was the director of this film and I asked all the questions, you know? I was asking second ACs. I was like, yo, what's striking? They're like,
no, you did not,
bro. I didn't know what. Yeah, they're like, oh, really? I was like, yeah. They're like, oh, it means you're turning something off. I'm like, oh, yeah, for sure, for sure. And I'm assuming sparking is turning on. Like, yeah. I'm like, okay, cool.
Yeah, people just yelling random words, and you're like, am I supposed to do something with these?
So many words like crossing. I'm like, what are you my heart? What are you crossing right now? And I've realized that they were just walking from the camera. I was like, okay, that's a new term for me. I'm gonna put that in my back pocket. Yeah. I think the fun part was coming home to my partner and still being in set mode. And like every time she says something, I'm like, yep, copy. She'd be like, what? I'm like, ooh, nothing.
That's
nothing.
Funny.
Yeah, fucking a set is very fast paced, and
yeah. It's there's so much adrenaline, which is like the fun part, but it's also the draining part of it too.
And you can get so severely dehydrated if you're not taking care of yourself and like learning. And I learned that the hard way on first night on the Friday.
Dude, you still sound like you're dehydrated.
Man, I'm just tired for sure. Yeah, man, I don't even know how to. I'm still out of loss of words about this whole process. Do you have any questions that are going to help me at least curate how I can fucking tell this thing?
What do you think? I mean, I feel like all of mine would like put you really on the spot, but I'm curious on like maybe your biggest like shortcomings and then biggest like proud moment type of thing. Like kind of both ends of the spectrum, to be like first time director of something of this scale. Obviously there was a lot of hurdles for the key players involved to like get past the imposter syndrome. But on the other side of it, now that you've done it, you've had to answer all the questions, learn all the things. Man,
yeah, I mean, that's a really good point, because I won't say that my experience is extensive in directing, but I've directed definitely growing up, teenager, young adult. In my recent career, I've been directing, but the key difference is that I've never directed with such a large team and not having a camera in my hand. I've always directed and DP'd at the exact same time. And I never have really liked calling myself a DP. I just have a good eye and understanding of a camera, and I can work it. But I never want to take it away from the very technical DPs, because they are the way they speak and the way they can translate what's happening into their mind through their mouth and communicate to the grips and the electric team and the director what their vision is something that I'm just not equipped with. So now I've been stripped of the camera, I've been stripped of all the other duties, and my whole focus was to be storytelling and getting the right shot and getting the right take and connecting with the actors. Totally. And that was something I've never had the fortune of experiencing. But
you did it well.
Thank you, bro.
And I think that a lot of that comes from like your already past experience of directing like photo shoots, directing models, like just working with actors and humans in general.
Definitely. Thank you for saying that. Yeah, honestly, the way I approach photo shoots with models, I treat it almost identical to how I was doing it on film. I often don't I'll never give someone an emotion to feel, but I'll give them an intention and a motivation behind it. Maybe I'll paint a story for them to live in a world and see what kind of comes out from them and see what they can evoke. Mm-hmm. I learned that there's a lot of trust that has to happen in your crew and a lot of trust that has to happen into your talent as well, because they've been working equally as hard as me to develop these characters and develop these stories and these shots and this lighting, that I need to also give them the opportunity to see what they made of the characters and what they make of the film. And I think that was the most beautiful experience, was like just standing. I felt like I was I felt like I was in like an early 2000s music video where like I was like standing still and everyone was in like a time lapse around me. Ooh, just like doing drag shot.
Yeah. It's like some Avril Lavigne shit or something.
Yeah, exactly. I was thinking more like what song is that? I'm not a perfect person.
Can't tell you.
You know that song?
No.
Damn. Someone hit me up in the comments what that song is. But that's... I just want you to know I found your reason to be... You know that song?
No, man.
Damn, dog. Anyways, watch that music video. My heart was like spewing at it with gratitude, because I was like, wow, there's all these people here to tell this story, and I'm somehow the idiot that gets to tell them how to do this. So the biggest shortcoming I would say is that I've never been approached with so many questions at the exact same time and expected to have all of the answers, and I did not. I did not have all the answers, because I was learning on the fly, and I learned that I had. There were some scenes that I had to cut or some shots that I had to cut and live with, and that's something that was very new to me.
Totally. It's such good decision-making skills.
Oh, man, yeah. Like, I can only equate it to, like, being on a sports team and, like, you're in, like, a championship game, and every decision you make is integral, and it just happens so fast, and you need to commit to it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like there isn't really... Like, yes, there is like right and wrong decisions, but there isn't really, like, you can't really make a wrong decision as long as you fully lean into the decision that you've made.
Mm-hmm. Exactly that. It's, yeah, you have to say that shit with chest. Any decision you make, you say that shit with chest.
Yeah.
And I think having a co-director who was also the star and also the writer of the film, it's as much as she wanted to be co-director with me, the pressure was all on me to tell this story because I
Yeah.
needed her to be the character. You know,
Yeah,
I needed her to
totally.
be sunk, like dialed in. But thankfully, we had done so much work leading up to it that like I was very confident in the story that we were trying to tell here. So yeah, shortcoming was just like being green, especially on the very first day, getting your reps in with crew that you've never worked with and learning
Yeah.
different communication styles and
Learning to
what,
say it with chest.
learning to say that shit with chest, learning how to like get your AD on your team versus like working against your AD. That
True.
was huge.
That's a huge
Yeah.
one.
So for those who don't know what an AD is, essentially they are the schedule god. They are the ones that
They're the
make
timekeeper.
they are the timekeeper. They make sure that you know what shots are coming up and how long you have for them and where you need to cut to make things happen all within a respectable schedule. Especially if people who are doing this completely for free, there's no freaking way we could ask them to have like 12-hour days, 14-hour days. So we had to be very respectful of that. And our AD, Rashim,
Yeah, dude. Shout
beautiful
out to
man,
Rashim.
yo. Shout out to him. But first day, he was a fucking shark. He scared the shit out of me. Like I was having some daddy issues, like for real. Like he reminded me of my dad.
With daddy issues.
Dude, he was just like, he was very tough. And I had to talk to him the next day about it just to figure out like how our communication styles differ and how we can make it work. And after that conversation, that guy went from being the one causing the most stress on my first day to being my lifeline,
wow.
to being the most like that. This film could not have happened without Rashim. He was the anchor. And I'm so appreciative that I had
Totally.
someone that was so this was only his like second project that he's AD'd, but he spoke with grace and he spoke with confidence and he made sure that we got shit done. So that was an incredible learning experience, was working with a
Yeah.
really good AD.
Even that is a good note to like just pull people aside and be like, look, we're obviously like just shout it out to be like, we are not on the same page
Mhm.
for communication styles. And I get you have to do your job, but how can we do this together?
Yeah.
Like, how can we understand each other?
Man, that's therapy right there, though.
Fact, dude, fact.
Yeah. If I didn't have all these years of therapy, there's no way I can just have these kind of conversations very vulnerably
Yeah.
and open about it.
To understand what is like, oh, it's like not him. That's the problem. It's our like communication styles with each other.
That facts.
You know.
Exactly that.
I also want to ask, like hearing you say all this, do you think going forward that your stress threshold has been risen?
Oh, 1,000%. For freaking sure, bro. I depend. I guess it depends on the stress. I think that my time management and decision making has sharpened after this,
Mm-hmm.
and if that correlates into increasing my like stress threshold, then yeah, for sure. I don't know how else to explain that.
It definitely, that was a good way. But I think like one of the first things that you said to me, like the day after we wrapped, was like the morning after. You're like, dude, life doesn't even feel real. Like I don't even feel like anything is happening. Like what am I supposed to do with myself? And I think some of that has to be from like the fast pacedness of the
Mhm.
stress levels that you just all of a sudden are operating on 24 hours a day for like weeks on end.
Mhm.
And then all of a sudden that's all yanked from you. And you're like, every decision is so menial.
Yeah.
And before the weeks leading up to the film, like those are the stress threshold that you have. And then all of a sudden afterwards, it's just like, yeah, so what? I'll get to it when I get to it.
That's very true, man. I appreciate you saying that because I feel like I've been having a hard time seeing that point of view after the film.
Yet you're stretched. You're now stretched.
Mhm. Yeah, I've grown. Fuck, that's facts, man. I've definitely have grown.
And it can happen just like that. Like,
Mhm.
I think a lot of people maybe get confused with growth which it definitely does take place and occur over a long period of time, but there is no doubt in my mind that experiencing things like films that takes like, I don't know, 12 hours out of your day, 14 hours out of your day, possibly for weeks on end, especially if you're pre-pro, to not think that period can be a form of extreme short-term growth because there's no other way that you can get through it.
Yeah, dude, absolutely. And you're on a time crunch, and you have like dates that you have to meet and expectations. It's like it's just you're on go mode.
You don't have a choice.
Yeah, you don't have a choice. And I feel every industry has that.
Yeah.
You have to make hard decisions in a short period of time, and the lead up to it is always very stressful, but it's rewarding at the end of it. Well, hopefully it's rewarding. There's definitely times where it's not rewarding, but no, I feel that.
True.
I definitely feel that. What was it like watching me direct? Because up until this point, maybe up until like last year, we've done any big project that was I either had or you either had, we were both on it at all times. And we're often, if not we were equal, we were just like assisting, being the number one assistant to each other. But this was the first time where we had very separate roles, and you just watched the whole production kind of unravel. Like, what was that like?
Well, first off, I'll say because of that, I've always been a part of the camera team through, unpaid, paid. Like, my work always on set has been in that department.
Mm-hmm.
So showing up the first day was very jarring for me. This is it's definitely a side quest from the question you just asked.
No, this is good though.
But I felt out of my body because I was there for BTS. So like, I don't actually have like a position to be like, oh, I need to be in charge of this department or whatever. Like, I'm just kind of in the background. So I felt very like I'm taking up space here.
Gotcha.
Which was not a good headspace to be in at the beginning. And I actually, through the production, I had that same conversation with a few people. And at the end of it, I felt it all like the complete opposite. Like, I just totally had switched because I think we were all family basically by the end. Mm-hmm. And it was such a good like communal vibe. But yeah, it was just like the second day I came into it with like, no, what I'm doing is actually important and just as important as another crew member.
Dude, super important.
Yeah.
Super
and it's just like, and only I get to choose that, because people will want to look back on it, or maybe they won't, to each their own, but like, I think what I'm doing is important and that's enough. But on the flip side of this, for the original question that you asked me, and not my existential awkwardness as a human, it was the most natural thing of all time, dude. Like, the least jarring part of the production was like walking in and you like holding a director monitor and like putting on headphones and yada yada. It's just like, yeah, of course, yeah. Like, from my perspective, I'm like, there isn't really. There was a few times that's like there's this hallway scene that they needed to be really jacked up for, like, energy wise, and
that was a fun scene.
Yeah, it was an amazingly fun scene for everybody to watch and the actors involved. But the way that you would direct them and give them notes and like hype them up was kind of what I saw throughout the whole production, of just being like, oh, like, you're Mr. Fun Guy, but also like, because this moment dictates fun, and it's I guess like your mood is what I'm getting at, to be like, since you're so dialed in emotionally, you can like follow that through scene to scene and like help people get to where they need to be in each step of the way. To be like, oh, I have to cry in this scene, and then you become their stepping stone to be like, how are we going to get there together? Like, I'm going to cry with you, and we're going to do this each step of the way, and I'm here to hold your hand. I'm here to like give you notes, but give them space to do it on their own, and not just be like, cry, damn it. Like,
bro, you're gonna make me cry, dog. I was not expecting you to say all that.
Yeah, I mean, to me, like, it doesn't really feel like anything, I think maybe because I've seen you do it 1,000 times, and it's just like, man, we must have said this in another podcast, but it's just like, It's like you're just practicing, and this time you happen to do it on a larger scale, but you did the exact same thing. Man, this has to be a Mr. Someone pull a Mr. Honest Chuck quote up here.
Yeah. It's luck is only when preparation and opportunity meet.
Boom.
That's what it is.
That's your directing style right there. That's what I saw. Like, that's what I saw for the set. I was like, oh, this guy's done it 1,000 times before. He just happens to be standing in a different room with a different amount of people watching him do it in this moment. Do you know?
I appreciate that, dog,
Yeah.
a lot. A lot.
Dude,
Thank
full
you.
circle for the pod squad out here listening to Mr. Honest Chuck.
Yeah. My God, this whole thing is very
love that.
full circle.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, I appreciate that, and that was the whole thing about this film, is that I was brought in to basically take a film that's very personal, and it's a queer film, and as a hetero man, it was my job to understand the gravity of it, but then also make this story very universal and felt across, no matter what your sexual orientation is or however you identify. It was meant to be a story for all, and it wasn't about who was on screen, but about the person that came to your mind while watching it, and that's the end goal for it.
Totally, yeah.
And being tapped in emotionally, I think, is my biggest strong suit in life, period, let alone directing. And then bringing that into the set and the way I approach scenes definitely was to my benefit. And so my biggest takeaway when it comes to my directing style and for other directors is that it really is not about, like, obviously the lingo is important, and like getting the reps in and learning how to communicate with crew is really important, but the most important part is like entering all things as a human and understanding that there are emotions that are felt that aren't always mutual, but understanding them and identifying them and learning how to frame them and work them into a scene that is only going to benefit the story. I could be feeling something completely different than the actor is, but it's my job to understand how they perceive it and them to know how I perceive it, and how we can end up telling one that embodies both of them into both feelings. And Virgo, who is the co-star, she plays Cameron in the film, who, for the record, she flew in from Madrid, Spain.
Opposed to Madrid.
I don't know. But just in case you didn't hear it, she flew on her own dime to be in this film because she loved the script and the people on it so much. So shout out to Virgo.
No, I mean the people on it. Did she meet 90% of the people?
But she knew that everyone that was a part of it they had their all in, you know?
True. Passion vibes.
Yeah, exactly. And Instagram, you know, people see. people lurk. But anyways, at the end, me and her got to have lunch on the Monday. And she had said to me, well, one, it fucked me up. I almost cried. She told me that she would love to work with me again in the future, and that I was born for this.
Oh, shit.
And
you didn't cry at that?
Oh, no, I've cried at different places. But she was saying that it's because I didn't let her feel that she was acting a right way or a wrong way. It was always constructive and always being her ally and giving emotional cues and intentions and motivations behind it. It was never that you were doing it. I was never saying that you were doing the scene wrong. It was more about, how can we build on this? How can we get more from the character? And that is not just something to do with acting too and like speaking to your actors. It's about crew too. If I were to go to the DP and just say, yo, I want this shit to be golden hour. Okay, cool. You can turn up the warmth, turn up the kelvins on a fucking light and say, boom, it's orange now. But golden hour is not just an aesthetic. It's a feeling that is evoked. It's the way that light passes through tree branches and diffuses them, and you see them passing through the windows and draped, its shadows draped across the walls and onto people. And it's the way people feel love and excitement in their life. And it's more than just like a color. So learning how to speak that way to people has been an amazing experience, like being able to use it on set, and also knowing that it's one of my assets. And I just didn't think it would actually like work. I just, you know what I mean? Does that make sense? Like that's where my imposter syndrome was coming from. Is that I knew that I know who I am and I know how I speak. I know people listen to when I speak, but you don't know if it's gonna fucking work.
Yeah.
You have no idea.
So this was just real proof, basically on the other side.
It was, man, and I just like I'm baffled by it, and I'm just people just you know I actually got called out for something which I want to share with you because I think it's funny as fuck.
Oh, you want to share it on the pod right
now?
now?
I have to. Yeah.
Okay.
So there's one scene where our main character Riley, she goes essentially portrays the 5 stages of grief. I don't know what they are: sadness, acceptance, anger, yada blah, blah, blah. Basically, you know, Call Me by Your Name, Timothy Chalamet.
Yeah.
You know the ending scene where he's like staring at the fire and he tells the entire story through his eyes and through his face. At the ending.
Sure, yeah.
So, one of our last shots is something similar that Riley is experiencing, and to get Kyla into this place for her to experience all things, I essentially had sewn together a narrative, a story about it being hard to get out of bed in winter days, and then when daylight savings comes around, you realize the days grow longer and your bones get stronger and your will to live is blah 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 blah. Very beautiful thing, but I was speaking like this.
Oh, okay.
And when the sun rises, it stays a little bit longer, and when it fleets, it doesn't feel as dark. So, but as I'm watching her perform it and I'm seeing her like tear up and get welted up, I start getting fucking choked up myself doing this for her, and it is really beautiful. And then when we cut, everyone's like, "Wow, that was a great job." But then my script supervisor, she's jokes as fuck. Her name is Yasmin. She's actually a comedian. She leans over and she's like, yo, don't fool yourself, eh? You ain't fooling me. I was like, what do you mean? She's like, boy, you just talk slow. That's it. You just talk slow and deep, and you think you're all that, huh? You think you're a poet? And I shit myself. I was so I've never had someone call me out for it, but it's so true because that's anytime I need someone to listen to me and I need emotions, though, I just drop my voice and I space out my words, and that's literally it. And it sweeted me that she called me out.
Wow.
It wasn't in front of anyone, but I wish she did because it was funny as fuck.
Oh man, that was private?
Yeah, it was private.
Damn.
Yeah. I know. We should have done a little interview after her there. Be like, yo, that Nolan guy, sus. You think he's poetic? Sus. He's not. He just speaks quietly.
Oh my god.
Yeah. But
that's funny as fuck.
That was a fun time.
But all in all, strong suit. Besides,
I feel like I just pumped myself up for all these things, but I don't know. I'm in a place right now where I need to tell myself more kinder things and speak highly of myself. And speak
we're all there. We're all there all the time.
Yeah.
Everyone needs to be a little bit kinder.
For sure. I have a question for you. And it is a kind of a selfish question for myself too, because
then the answer is no. Then
no, I'm not asking you for something. It's more so that like it's in relationship to how I'm feeling currently.
Oh, okay.
How do you deal with?
Why are you phrasing the question like I just have the answer?
Because you will have the answer because you experience it differently than me. How do you deal with like the days after something, like you went through something that really motivated you and changed you and feels like you changed your life and it was such a great experience, and then it feels like it's gone. It's just fleeting and it's like in the rearview mirror, and like it's like going on vacation and then you come back and you're back to work and you're like, oh god, what is this dread? What am I doing? Like how do you deal with that
little thing called depression?
We got it.
Yeah, it usually works. You know, just get depressed for a bit.
Damn.
Tell me I'm wrong.
It doesn't work. It's just what happens.
Yeah, I think, well, I mean, are we going to tell the 45th time to anybody who listens to this podcast? We're both very nostalgic people.
Yeah, super.
So it hits a little harder.
Mm-hmm.
For sure, because I don't know what happens in our brain that it's just kind of like taking these memories and like making stone out of them. So it's just like all of a sudden these memories are just like in your pocket hanging out. A couple of Lucy's just hanging out in your pocket that are just with you permanently now. I don't think there's a right or wrong answer. I don't think I really have found anything to like cope with this syndrome. Other than like giving it what it needs. Like for me, when I think about what you're saying, they're like moments that like want to be thought of past it happening, and I'll just give it the time and space, but like properly, instead of like kind of half-heartedly doing it. So if it's like something that I enjoyed and something that I want to let go, it's like have a little like cheers to some tea to it, you know? Listen to some like nice indie folk and have a tea and just think about it, and it's just like do it some justice. Hang out with
indie
it.
folk really does do that, eh? God damn. Nothing hits like some indie folk and a coffee, and nostalgia is just fucking rocking out the window. Yep.
Yeah, I don't know. That would be my best suggestion, because it's not like I don't know if you need to write about it. If it's something that you want to write about, maybe journal it out and be like, yo, this weekend was dope. I made massive improvements, and I need to be kinder to myself because I'm dope.
Because I'm dope. Yeah, writing about it sounds great. I think that it was just such a high, and it was so addictive that like everything afterward has felt worthless of my time, and nothing has felt anything remotely equivalent.
Totally.
And I just keep thinking about how do I do that again? How do I get that hit again?
Yeah.
But you're right. I'd need to honor it for what it was, and we're still not out of the clear. Like this thing is just getting into post now.
Totally, yeah.
So it's still not over.
You're at the beginning of thanking it.
Yes,
you know?
Exactly. Now I get to stitch the story together. So.
But I would also like encourage you to narrow in to the exact things. Like instead of just being like being on a film is what, you know, gives me that adrenaline hit. Like try to narrow into like exact moments that like, you know, maybe it was having that conversation with Rashim, that you guys got on the same talking plane, like those kind of things, to be like, oh, I really felt in my own body when I was doing those kind of things, and having these kind of conversations, or when people called me out for, you know,
taking too long on a fucking shot. Yeah. Damn. Oh my God, there's nothing like a producer looking at you and giving you the scissor fingers, knowing that you're going to have to cut some shit out or wrap things up. Oof, that's scary. But you know what? You were so right. And I'm, as a fellow nostalgic person, I think that is one of our greatest superpowers. And I'm not...
We should devote a whole episode on just this topic.
Nostalgia? I feel like that's...
No, but the question that you asked me.
Yeah, that is a good thing. If y'all are interested, let us know. How do you guys deal with post-project love, whatever, fucking whatever? What do you do when you're sad?
Postpartum project.
Postpartum project. Yeah, something like that. I don't know. Yeah, okay. I'm gonna get very vulnerable here for a moment before we like end the conversation around the film.
Okay. Do it.
So,
is Sora dreaming? What's happening right now?
Sora is dreaming. Yeah, Sora is just dreaming for the both of us right now. She's at my head. Anyways, I've been very vocal about going to therapy for several years now. I think it's been 5 years now, maybe 4 years. And
dude, I hate when people say several and then say a number after it.
I don't know how many years this is. Many.
I know, but this has been a pet peeve since I've been 1 year old. You know, it's several, and I'm like, it sounds like 7 to me. I don't know. You can't like.
Okay, barriers. I've been doing it for years. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. You're trying to be vulnerable.
I'm being honest.
Okay.
And like the first couple of years, I spent it unlocking a lot of like childhood trauma and understanding why I am who I am and the way I feel and understanding how to navigate through those feelings. Very, very basic vernacular of therapy 101. Not to minimize anyone else's experience, but that's just kind of what mine is, and I don't know a lot of people experience it as well too. And it's working, and it's been working for a very long time, and my relationship with my therapist is very strong and powerful, and it has definitely saved my life several times over. But the longer I've gone into it now, people will often refer to something called the window of neutrality. And it's not an end goal, but it's a place that therapists and they want their patients to get to. Basically, you feel neutral throughout your days. You don't experience the low lows where you consider, or question your overall existence. But the trade-off or the caveat is that you don't experience the high highs.
What kind of bullshit is that?
Right? That's what I'm saying. So with, without the high highs and you're just feeling very neutral, it really feels like you don't feel much at all. And I've been in this window now for like a year and a half, and I have been trying to dig myself out of it and trying to change the ratio. Like, instead of it being a split, like if I can't have sadness, like I can't have happiness, I've been trying to find a way to get happier and feel a little less sadness. But it's been very difficult. It's been very, very difficult.
So you're saying that you've just been like locked into this window?
I've just been here. I'm very present, but I just have not been really happy, but I haven't been very sad. I got sad very recently before the film. I couldn't even tell you what it was about, but I hadn't felt that sad in a very long time. But I was able to transition back into a window of neutrality again. But it still was feeling like I haven't felt much of anything. And then this weekend happened, the production. And it was the first time in a couple of years that I just felt like my heart and my chest had just opened up, and I felt all the things. I felt moments of grief and sadness, but I felt like blissful euphoria and elation and just happiness and overwhelmed with so many emotions.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like neutrality.
No, it's not. I had broken out of this window like this weekend, and it was so moving and so powerful that I honestly feel like forever changed by this experience. Even if this film goes nowhere, and I'm okay with that, I just know what it had done for me personally, and I am so thankful for the experience and to experience it with so many people that I genuinely love and care for.
Wow.
It really did change my life, and the sadness I've felt over the past few days is because I feel hungover on emotion. But I also feel a little empty because that was some of the best times of my life, and I haven't experienced something like that in a very long time. So I've been feeling like this dull, like grief and dull anguish, but also matched with like gratitude and appreciation for the time that I spent with everyone. And it's been a very confusing emotional like playing field to navigate on this week, and that's why I haven't really gotten much rest. I've just been up all night thinking about it, or hours pass in the day where I'm just like lying down on my phone, and just because I'm numb and can't feel much of anything, and I'm just now starting to come out of it. And
so do you think that you're gonna bounce back into this window of neutral? Or like, where do you think your trajectory is going?
Interesting you say that. I think I will likely always be kind of neutral, but I've learned how to break out of it. And the only way to break out of it is to start doing those things that I thought were dumb, stupid dreams or just dumb, stupid ideas. And the only way for me to feel this again is to allow my dreams that are like shackled in my mind and tethered by what I think is realistic, and like cut those chains and allow my dreams to live outside of my brain.
Oh, someone's gonna follow their bliss. Someone's about to follow
my
their
bliss, yo. Like dumb ideas, you know. Like I want to write more films. I want to direct more. I want to do more impactful work that sounded stupid and wasn't going to make me money, but now that's all I can think of because it brings me happiness and so much joy. I'm one of the few people that I actually like my voice. I really like my own voice. I want to do voiceover work just for funsies.
Yeah,
I want to make
you
like
could.
TikToks and reels using my voice and shooting like pretty videos over it. Why the fuck not? You know, it sounds stupid, but that thing is going to make me feel happy. So I am just in a place right now where I want to do things that previous Nolan would have thought was silly because it wasn't realistic, and I want to redefine what realism is for myself.
I like that. Yeah, no dumb ideas, no dumb work.
No dumb ideas, no dumb work.
I also like that because it's funny that I kind of ended up here in that same headspace through quite a different venue.
Yeah.
But I've kind of come to the same conclusion of just like, oh, how about we just stop taking everything so seriously and making it about money and yada, 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 and be like, what do I want to do? You know?
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, sure, okay, what if I do want to make a TikTok, like, with a voiceover with some pretty visuals? Cool. Why does there have to be, like, this grandiose idealism that sometimes just gets stuck to be like, well, if you can't make $1 million at it, then if you can't sell it, if no one's going to buy it.
And then there's also like the fear of like judgment from others.
Totally. I definitely suffer from that too hard.
It's very easy to suffer from that, honestly. But who gets to dictate that shit, you know? Just because one person may think it's dumb, I'm sure there's a gigantic audience outside of it that would not think it's dumb.
And also just fuck them. Who cares?
Fuck them.
Okay, one last thing before we wrap up.
Okay.
How would you feel if that was your last film ever?
Dude, that's wow. Why gotta end it like that?
Well, because you just said all these things about like how you feel. You're like, you know, but on the balance of like chasing this adrenaline rush again, you know, like, do you think that you'd be fine?
No, I would not be fine. Only because that was a taste of what a very mature and tapped in Nolan is. And if that is just the first experience that I've like got to scrape off like the surface level, okay, the Oscars, right? I'm going to refer to this. The Daniels, basically the directors of Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Yeah.
They won a shitload of awards. Yeah. Deservingly so, right?
Ungodly, man.
Deservingly so. But one of the Daniels, at their very last speech when they won Best Picture, his main point was that everyone has a genius within them. It just takes amount of people around them and themselves to believe in it, to unleash that genius. And I feel like that this film was a moment of genius for me. And I am just excited. I'm excited to bring my people along with me, you know, and do this again and again and bigger moments and smaller moments too. I just want to keep making things because it has been the source of so much of my happiness and grief all at once, and I can't see my life operating any other way, truthfully.
Nice. Cool.
Damn.
That sounded so cold. But I was just listening, yeah. If you learn nothing from that, folks, it's listen to that inside stuff that's beating around in there.
Oh man. Yeah, that like that voice in there that's like, I want to do this, but I'm that's scared, and I feel like I'm gonna be dumb. No, fuck that, man. Just do it.
Okay. Now we have to end it.
Okay, we are gonna end it. I'm sorry that I feel like I talk so much about myself. I've just been very introspective, and I appreciate you giving me the space to do so, bro. So thank you.
Yeah, and the 8 people who are listening, and also like, we can't end this without like absolutely shouting out to the heavens the cast and crew of that film.
Oh my god,
Everyone ruled. Everyone rocked.
Everyone.
Man.
We've been on a
Another
handful
word
of
with
like
R.
quite a few sets in our career, and like this was one of the best sets. The people were just phenomenal.
For sure.
So appreciate all of them.
Love
and,
you all. Thank you all.
And keep your eyes out for a morning coffee BTS by Spending Tea. You know where to find us. Creative Fred, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. We will see y'all soon, and thank you for being here.